Choo! Alright, we are live. Yay! Steak is here with me in person, which we'll say again once actually people show up, because we've been live for 2 seconds.
Welcome.
Just assume that people spawn instantly. It's just instinct. Alright.
Yeah, there's the message.
So we've got the stream right here. Alright. I like having this here just so that if anything freezes, I can kind of see it server side, right?
Yeah.
Then I have to tweet because my automator is not working right now for when things are live. Hi, anime. Ad time. Doink. Hope you're doing good. I don't remember if you went back to work or not yet from your appendix stuff. But I hope that you have been doing well and healing properly. Oops. Here. I was laid off? Oh no! That's not good. I'm sorry to hear it. That sucks. Hope you're doing well, you know. I hope everything ends up being okay. Oof.
Yeah, that was rough.
That's very rough. I'm surprised. Weren't they like training you too? Ugh. Did get a call for a job 5 minutes ago. I had to turn down because surgery next week. Oof, 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 oof. Well, I'm hopeful that everything will turn out okay. I hope that you know, you're still in the union. Okay, that's good at least, right? Oh, the union is what's training you. Okay. Well, hopefully, you know, they have connections that can help you out, especially since, you know, it's not like you can really go and work right away right now. Considering surgery tends to make people not able to work for a bit, because it's like getting in a knife fight. Except you live. This was wrapped up very weirdly before. We get laid off from jobs all the time. It's the line of work. Okay, so her reaction was a little bit extreme. I don't know. I don't have the context for that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think he said he was doing like metalworking and stuff. I know that some of that, and yeah, it is kind of relatively standard. But they'll like start a larger project, hire a bunch of people, and then when the project's done, they lay it off.
They just lay them off. Yeah, that's oofy doofy. You figure they'd get like contracts or something, but trig. I don't know anything about that. Either way, I hope that you're good. Exactly, Steak. Oh. Wow.
Yeah. I did a metalworking as a vocational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it would be fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Not my kind of thing. Beep. Sorry. But yeah, Steak's in town because a mutual friend of ours is getting married. So we're going to the wedding on Saturday. But in the meantime, we have been hanging out, and Steak has got to have Bojangles today, which is fun.
Yeah.
What was the verdict? I didn't really ask because we had to be quiet when we were eating most of the time.
Fries were exceptional. Chicken was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like the fries were like the best part of it.
Oh, the fries are really damn good. Yeah.
I'd say the chicken was bad. Chicken was quite good, but like the fries is what took it away from me.
Good. That's why I asked for an extra thing of fries too, by the way. I was like, those are so damn good. I kind of can't pass up right now.
Yeah.
Also, I was kind of pickish in the first place. There we go. These are done. Believe it or not, they did an episode of Dirty Jobs about ironworkers. Oh.
I don't know what that is.
Dirty Jobs is a show. I'm aware of it. I haven't watched it in a long time. Because I only really watched it when I was at my fam's and they had like cable.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Yeah, I'd imagine that that kind of job would be, in fact, a dirty job. Maybe. Difficult.
And like I know that my vocational teacher was basically saying, yeah, you really need to be in a union if you want to be a metal worker. It's like you kind of need those rights if you want to live. It's a dangerous job.
Yeah, I'd imagine you want to do everything that you can to make sure you don't get fucking murdered on the job.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately it would be a workplace accident in quotation marks, but you would get murdered if like they don't do proper care for, you know, the area, the workplace.
I remember my vocational teacher was saying something like, he's talking about a story, trying to convince us to like, yes, you should join a union. It was like he was working at a place called Bath Iron Works, I think it was. It's like a shipbuilding place, and his employers were saying that he has to go and do a thing. He recognized that doing this thing was very much not safe. And because he was part of a union, he had the ability to decline it.
Good.
So they went over to one of the non-union workers that were there. He had to accept it, and he unfortunately died.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I mean, like, I only really did metalworking because it's the closest thing my school offered to engineering. Unfortunately, both of those kind of fell through the floor, so whatever.
Live and learn. You know?
Gravity doesn't like us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's better to have tried stuff and then be like, not for me.
Yeah.
Than to not try at all.
It's just a very expensive mistake.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, hey, I was gonna dual major in graphic design and computer science and use it for game design stuff. And I lost like $5,000 worth of tuition by flunking a bunch of summer classes. Because the comp sci stuff was just too shitty. I mean, like, I know plenty of people who are in comp sci at my school who, like, ended up having to switch to something else, or, like, it took them forever. Because it's not easy. And it definitely ended up not being for me. Although I do like coding still. It's just not something I want to do as, like, my job.
Yeah, it's like a hobby thing.
Yeah, like for the Discord bot.
Yeah, the cha-cha bot.
Oh, can I send pics from the anime convention on Discord this weekend? Fuck yeah!
Yeah.
I'd love that. Take lots of pics. You could just make a thread in Hobby Zone or something. But that sounds very cool. I'd love to see it. We're not going to convention this month, but next month we're going, and it'll be super fun. Oof. Hi, Jaro. Hey.
Hey, Jaro.
Yay. I figured you'd pop by for Snowbound. I'm gonna do a quick, like, 5-second background thing for this again, just to kind of summarize for people who don't know what this is. Snowbound Blood. Okay. You get to see William Shatner? Oh! Wow. Oh my god. I'm gonna add that thing where he asks a bunch of random questions to the video list thing. You know how it does the Burmy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the PMD one didn't work last time you rendered it. I don't know why it didn't do that. All the other ones seem to be working, and that video has audio, but...
Yeah, just look at this. This is like, why is there no audio? I spent so many points on this.
This is so sad. I apologize. I can play it right now and see if it'll work. Let's see. Questions vid plus the not this time one plus the based one. Maybe one of those. I'm writing it down so I remember for later. All right. Anyway, to go back to what I was saying before I got excited and distracted again. So obviously Homestuck exists as a webcomic, sure. It spawned many a fan comic, right? And amongst them was Vast Error, which is a super good one, honestly, just like excellent webcomic. And from that came this, Snowbound Blood, which is a visual novel series that is in the same universe, that is focused around this kind of investigator named Cicely Ayapara, who's super cool. But basically each case, or each volume has 2 people that we go and visit, and basically each of those kind of just goes around like talking to the individual and getting information about the big mystery we're trying to unravel. So it's fun, it's cool, it's rad. I was gonna get the mystery thing to work. Let's see. Let's see if we can get it to work. Da-da-da-da-da. How's audio? Let's see. Yeah, so the video in here has audio. Allow command. Let me see. It's the same. There we go. It looks like it's playing the audio, right? Right? Yeah, it is. Okay. So maybe that was just like a freak accident.
Yeah, it is
Ta-da.
playing on the stream, right, guys?
Yeah, it was on the bottom bar there.
Now I want to make sure they hear it.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, they should hear it, but...
Yes. Alright,
Okay.
cool. Also, hi, Cheetah. Hello.
Like, Cheetah.
Steak real? I know steak literally real.
Steak in the reel.
Oh my god. Steak literally real. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to know Homestuck or even Vast Air to enjoy this visual novel. IMO. I think it's just cool and good. This is gonna be a little difficult for me though, because I need to angle my body this way, but the game is over here. The game's up here too. I guess technically I could play it looking at this screen as well. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Alright, so last time we got through the prologue and we got through volume 1 and we did half of volume 2. And so we're gonna get to do volume 3, which will be really fun because crypto Bitcoin is in that one. Also, happy Weed Day, everybody. Speaking of, happy Boof Boof Day. Yet another joke I like making despite being like, if I did a weed, I think I'd die instantly. I mean, if I smoked it, obviously I'd die instantly. I don't know about the brownies. But yeah. Alright. Make this bigger, maybe? Oh, you know what I can do, actually? I have a big, huge, brain idea. Don't. No, not that. Here. Huge brained idea. Hell yeah. And we can put chat here so we can still see them. And now I can actually see this a lot better. Turn the audio up a little bit. Alright, I'll do the narration and I'll voice Cecily.
Okay.
I think for the sake of just like while we're hanging out and doing this, you could just be like the guest for each of them, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
If there's some that you don't want to do, then I can just do it, but I'll be talking to myself. So, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Alright. Also warning that my throat starts to die out near the end of these.
Oof.
It's just reading, right? So of course.
Yeah.
Alright. A theft has occurred in the northern wastes. Stolen a filter of the Vivifire's blood, said to have supernatural properties. In charge of the investigation, yourself. You have your orders, and you have a case to solve. You think you should start close to home. Known quantities. You've got 2 candidates in mind to interview first. You choose... We already did this lady before, so we are now going to go and talk to Ripite, who is the inventor of Skype. Alright.
Evil.
Yes. Ripite Koldan. A simple enough start, you feel. You're not one for pulling a metaphorical hamstring, and you still have a day before you'll be heading to Idyllic Acres. Can't waste time. It feels good to be hunting for a squeak beast after so long. You really feel your vicious verminator senses shed turquoise tears of joy. Thanks. Question mark. What a confusing portmanteau. You're not quite sure if the latter half of Verminator's wordology is Terminator or Exterminator. Perhaps you could claim it's a portmanteau. There weren't many particularly interesting details attached to Colden's name, but regardless, you'll pay him a visit. His ties to Scorp would potentially give him access to deadly secrets. Once you arrive, security is perfectly apathetic and nonchalantly allows you inside once you flash your credentials. You spare half a thought wondering what he thinks you're doing here, but you ignore it in favor of giving Ripite's Trollodex card another glance as you enter the elevator. Is there no jams? I think there is just no music yet. We'll see.
They're trying to simulate an office environment.
Yes. As luck would have it, when the doors open to a chorus of keyboards clacking like mechanical chirp bugs, your eyes drift from the card to the man himself. You examine him from across the room. There he is. Oh, okay, audio's fine. Alright.
I'm trying to think of a good voice for him.
Your prerogative. He appears to be talking to a coworker. Judging from the frantic motions of his hands, he's explaining something. Something big. This guy has always been one for animated gestures. Alright, let's recall. This thing is... Woo! Too much. 1 second. The mouse is going batshit. Do one more. Good enough. Alright. This isn't the first time you've seen his face, but it's not really much more than the fourth. You never forget a face, but even if you did, his would be off the table. He makes a strong impression, especially in the conference room you first saw him in. He had ideas for Scorp beams, a relatively new concept, especially considering you'd first heard of the app a few days prior. His arms would move about, not unlike a cartoon character. The glow of the projector made his white teeth blinding. His smile looked almost fake from how real it looked. There were themes for each department of the company. You remember rolling your eyes as he started with the accountants. Loyal logarithms, or the security guards. Ostentatious oculars, serious sass, secretary serenade. He'd mentioned that one in particular was for the lovely lass at the front desk, who evidently had a habit of doodling hearts onto her work papers when she was bored. When you looked to your left, you saw that exact secretary, face buried in her hands in mild embarrassment. Not exactly a secret with dire consequences, you'd think, but also, he didn't care. Clicky click. Perhaps the strongest quality he has is his voice. Deep, but not rumbly, like black honey. It demands attention. You could further recall moments spent in that ablution trap with the patent-pending inspo nuggets intermission of the meeting in your mind's radio, but you try not to layer recalls like that. Perhaps you should do your recollection outside of the timed automatic doors next time. Whoops. With a mental sigh, you open the doors again. Alright, let's exit. You step out of the elevator and into the office. No time for games. You wait for the first sign of a break in his conversation and approach him. You clear your throat and give him a curt nod as he turns towards you with a look of surprise on his face. This is Cecily. What was my Cecily voice again? It's only been a week. I think it was just like need to chill. So, Ripite's Colton. My name is.
Oops, didn't see you there.
The way he reaches over to shake your hand with both of his catches you off guard. It reminds you uncannily of those old greeting machines used at corporate convenienceries that would come to life at the press of a button. Creepy bastards. Thank goodness they started using people in costumes for that instead of robots. You appreciate a personal touch.
Guilty as charged. Right, White Colton. Looks like you already knew that. Yes, my reputation precedes me.
Oh, he's clearly waiting for something. A laugh, you assume. Unfortunately for him, he flops, as the Chuckle Bunker regulars say. My name is Cecily Ayapara, and I'm currently conducting an investigation of grave importance. I'd appreciate any time you have to spare for some questions. You like getting to the point. Oftentimes, the point means the point of your blade, and you can never turn down a chance to dance with blades. If only the chances ever came. Look at him. Ripite's face seems to be somewhat frozen on a smile. He looks confused more than anything. Being questioned isn't exactly a difficult concept to wrap your head around, in your opinion.
Wow, you want to talk to me?
It's more believable than me asking this of your colleague over there. The one that I'm not presently engaging in conversation. Yes, you. The teal behind him is definitely finding his work very interesting right now. In an instant, his nose is buried in his computer monitor. He's smart, not looking like he's clearly eavesdropping. Still, you'd prefer someplace more private. If you have to spend the conversation counting his nervous tics and fidgets, you'll go mad. Perhaps if we could relocate this to somewhere else? I wouldn't wish to disturb anybody's work. I'd hate to make you look bad.
Of course, I'm always happy to get a move on. As I always say, there's a time and a place for us all, don't you know?
You give the worker behind him a curious glance, and his confused expression tells you that he has literally never said that before. Whatever. Your eye has also caught a nameplate next to a door across the office space, and it's a name that was just used in an awful pun by its owner mere seconds ago. Is that your office over there? I'd say that would be a good place. If you wouldn't mind, of course.
Not at all, not at all. Come on, it's this way.
He's leading you to the clearly labeled room that you pointed out. Your hero. You spend the short trek re-examining the evidence, sifting through your mental documents and familiarizing yourself with the important facts. When he lets you in, you're taken aback from how personalized the room looks. It feels like it could only be his, and you barely even know him. Your mind works fast to find the theme of the miscellaneous junk spread across the room. You see a joke book, a calendar with every day marked, a miniature ray gun model. Arms hoarder? Doesn't seem like the type. That microphone making itself comfortable on the desk catches your eye. He records something, apparently. Redpipe seems just as surprised as you are, and as he rushes to tidy his desk up, you give a whiteboard nearby a glance. Based on the doodled alien heads spouting inspirational slogans, someone's got space on the mind. Your least favorite is the three-eyed alien telling you to reach for the stars. A little on the nose.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot I have a synapse squall in here. Taking a gander at my design work? We're walking on a brand new scorpion celestial crossroads. Did you know that from Mission to the moon,
Ripathon, you're good.
from Ripicon to the moon, the author's rough calculations and the requirements for the cannon able to launch 3 people into space were remarkably accurate? Fascinating, isn't it? His cannons were still impractical, but it was all quite commendable attempt.
We can talk trivia later. Take a seat, Mr. Colden. You're not sure why you see Ripite grabbing for his seat, but you can tell that he's doing his best to try and lighten the mood.
Where do you want me to put?
Your cold stare pierces through him like a hot knife through buttery cliches. You're not in the market for a lightened mood. The few inches he's lifted his seat off the floor are reversed, and he lets out a fake cough before sitting down.
Right, investigation. Not really sure what you need from me, but I'm an open book. But first, I have a question for you, miss. I apologize.
For me, you say? I was under the impression that I was questioning you. He nods enthusiastically and doesn't wait for confirmation before he dives right in.
You seem quite tired. Have you had enough soda? I've got a spare cushion lying around if you want to take a snooze cruise. Your business can wait, I'm sure. Self-care first.
Is he trying to change the subject? I've had a sufficient amount of sustenance, thank you. I'd really like to have the reins to the conversation again, Mr. Colden. He raises his hands a little bashfully, and though he's smiling, there's a slight sorrow to it. Like he knows that was perhaps his last chance for a lighthearted conversation.
He's doing the thing with the fingers.
Ooh, please no mean to me.
Right, all yours. My hands are off. I'm nudging them in your direction. And please, call me Ripite. May I call you Cicely?
No. With the investigation properly underway, you retrieve a folder that might help contextualize the situation slightly. For him, you mean. You've already read this document a significant number of times. Once! Recently, in the northern wastes, there was an armored truck that was intercepted en route to deliver some very particular goods back to corporate. In particular, a valuable package was stolen. You'll spare the details in case he turns out to be a blabbermouth. He doesn't sound like he has much of a filter, even if you could be wrong. It was an unscheduled transport, so the culprit must have ties to corporate. Would you happen to know anything of this operation before or after the fact? Is there talk of any Arctic antics in your area of the corporate ladder? The look on Repate's face is one of slight concern, and while you're trying to figure out whether it's genuine worry or just a cover-up, he gives you his response.
Can't say that I've heard of this, but it certainly sounds like kind of dangerous. Is everybody okay?
Yes, you almost say in the most disappointed voice you can muster. The armored truck full of priceless assets was intercepted and nothing happened. They had to pay a fee for crossing the bridge, draw straws to see who'd be stuck being the driver, sing an obnoxious repeating song the whole trip home. 3 employees died, 2 armed guards, and the driver. You start to lose faith in the idea that he'll be any help to you because he's getting teary-eyed about 3 complete and total strangers he didn't know existed until tonight.
Golly, those poor souls. They were only doing their jobs protecting that truck. That poor driver trying so hard to drive so far.
It didn't even matter in the end, your mind whispers to itself, but you let him grieve for a few more seconds.
And that truck, having to endure the harsh cold. I hope its driver loved it and cherished it.
Bruh.
And that package must be so scared and lost in the hands of who knows who.
Are you absolutely sure there's nothing you know about this truck, Mr. Colby? I find it difficult to believe that you have 0 ties with this incident.
Gosh, I'd love to help. I really, really would, but I don't know what ties I could possibly have. I mean, I wear a tie. Is that any good? I could maybe toss you one as well if you'd like. I'm positive you'd really pull it off.
Dude, you're not just unsure. Oh, liquid! Thank you. It is time to drink of the water. Unfortunately, I did not bring you water. But if you want to go and get some, you can. It is a lot of reading.
Yeah, let's see. Where's the water?
The cups are in the drawer to the left of the fridge. Like, just right there, they're labeled. And the water is like a Brita filter in the fridge. You get. Clap, clap. I hope everyone has been having a good week. But yeah. I'm looking forward to slowly getting through Snowbound Blood. It'll be fun. I appreciate having other folks to read with me, because it's a lot of reading anyways. I'm gonna have to see if there's any individuals who want to play certain characters later. I can think of some that Crab would probably want to do, actually. Hello!
Yeah.
Welcome back.
What? You're what? Anytime I want it, day or night.
Alright. We'll continue on. You're not just unsure if he's the culprit, but you're downright rooting against it. Please, please let there be a better antagonist to chase. You need space? I can move things.
Okay.
Poster.
Yeah.
Right. You have a way to know for sure, and that method is the rest of this interrogation. There is something I'm looking to tie up, and it's all the loose ends of this case. Yeah, you think. What a badass comeback! Right-Paint looks positively stunned at your sense of professionalism. Tell me this. Why do you think I'm here? Questioning someone who seems to know nothing about this case. There must be an obvious connection you have for me to be spending my time here. You don't want to You don't want him to talk about ties again, because he looks like he's about to invite you to the company clothes shopping field trip as a bonding exercise. Instead, you give a brisk nod of your head to his whiteboard. Consider, you work for Scorp. It's the only relevant chat client around. Information is your deal, is it not? Especially with a battleground devoid of competitors.
Sure is. After all, I've got information, you've got victory. As a great man once said, that's been my motto forever.
He's looking very confident for a solid 3 seconds before it all crumbles like a house of cards into the endless void of uncertainty.
Or was it you can't spell victory without information? Can't get information without getting victory. That was it. I'm sure of it.
Funny you should mention giving a victory. I've got some questions to ask you about how this information may have leaked. I have reason to believe that you, and this entire company, could be involved. And if you really want to help me out, you'll answer some questions. Though he looks alarmed, either you've made a crack in the case or he's just very paranoid, he doesn't seem to be panicking.
Well, I'll be a bit of a dummy if I didn't try to clear my company's name, would I? Please, ask me anything.
And you're off. Yay, our investigation bar is here. Alright, let's ask about the mic. You want to dial it back a bit, make sure he doesn't get too overwhelmed. This is only a baseless assumption regardless, but you leave no stone unturned. He likely speaks out about things and could easily have blabbed about something. You doubt it's here for show and show alone, considering it takes up a fair amount of limited desk space. Leaning over, you gently tap the base of his microphone and raise an eyebrow. Last I checked, Scorp doesn't come with a radio feature. What's this then? I doubt you have an intercom system rigged up either. Before answering, Raypit apparently sees it necessary to grab one of his post-it notes and a pen from his jar of writing utensils. What are you doing?
Writing down a note to self, dear Raypit. Consider a radio theme. You have the means, so make some schemes.
Me. You really doubt it was necessary to include that last sentence, but okay. He finishes jotting down the idea you've given him and sticks that on his computer monitor along with other similarly neon-colored notes.
Well, this excellent boy right here is my partner in crime when it comes to my podcast.
Of course he has a podcast. That's news to you. Seems rather counterproductive to mix work and hobbies, doesn't it?
He's one of the 3 guys. It just looks like him.
Oh my
Like
god.
all podcasts got those 3 guys.
Yeah.
It looks like the Linguini one. Now, while you may be wondering why I have my setup here at work, fear not, this is a perfectly reasonable explanation. If I want to rope a friend in from work as the voice's special guest, all I have to do is open the door. Actually...
You don't particularly care for the way he's eyeing you like he knows exactly how to ensnare you in a friend trap, nor the way he presses a button on his mic and clicks something on his computer. He says, check check, beam me up, check check, and it sinks in that he's recording. Yippee. The only reason you don't stop him is so that you can get a feel for his narrator style, how casual he is. See if he'd be the type to let secrets slip.
Good evening, lady skies, gentle clouds, and every raindrop in between. It's a healthy number of degrees above freezing, and I'm your host, Raypit Colden.
To your surprise, there is a change in demeanor. Yes, he's still smiling far more than anyone else in this room is, but his voice softens somewhat. Unfortunately, it gives you pretty much no new information, so you're stuck listening to an episode of Raypit Dialogue for now.
You've got a real mind tickler that'll take your imaginations in knots to start off. What has 4 walk limbs in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 on the corporate paid vacation. I'll let you stew on that, but as always, I should introduce you to Weiss's co-pilot, Cicely. You care to give us a good old autobio?
He beckons you closer with a hand and tilts the microphone towards you. All the memories of 7 Sweep stage fright come flooding back. This isn't the same as your phone calls with your future employers, though. This is the jokester with a microphone. I suggest you turn that microphone off before your radio show takes a turn for the uncooperative. I did not agree to this. We're also not on a first-name basis. Let's get that clear while I'm setting the record straight, Mr. Colden. Thankfully, this doesn't seem to be a live broadcast, since you'd imagine those take a little more setup. You'd hate to embarrass this man in front of an audience. With a nod of understanding, he stops recording. Those keystrokes afterwards concern you. Don't tell me you're actually saving them.
Let's call that a work in progress. Revisit that another time.
In the meantime, perhaps try saying things with words instead of throwing me into the deep end of the talk show pool. Redpit seems happy enough to plug himself, pulling a rolled-up poster out of his desk drawer that has a suspiciously similar composition to one of the science fiction flyers strung up on his wall. He explains it like he's pitching it to an executive, which you find somewhat entertaining. He's just missing the oversized paper that he pulls back to reveal his storyboard and marketing research.
Whether or not it's a good day, it's a podcast I run on my off time. It stars me with a new co-pilot every episode, where we talk about what else in empty conversation, the weather.
Okay.
We got a segment for Nito Riddles. We talk about sci-fi and the occasional glad libs, but it's primarily weather talk. The answer to that riddle was a troll, by the way.
It was a stretch. At least you can add almost started an audio show to your resume. Ironic, the blade wielder hits the cutting room floor. Alright, let's talk about score. The most logical question, considering you're dealing with someone somehow knowing something, like all crimes committed by people who are awake. Thanks. Scorp is all about information. You intend to find out how your info was passed to an outside party. Scorp just blew up out of nowhere, didn't it? Hadn't heard a thing before it was suddenly swallowing its predecessor with an unhinged jaw. Rushing headfirst into new things seemed to be a theme around Scorp. Pouring time and energy into a broken concept? Classic. Textbook, as a matter of fact. And imagine you're quite proud of yourself, being so high up the corporate ladder.
Last I checked, it ranks number 1 on my list of favorite things.
Your eyebrows quirk at such a strange notion. You're perfectly capable of keeping up appearances, but number 1? That's impressively high ranked. If there were a collection of high ranks, that would be the highest. There would be no end to the elevation of that one rank. You're quite fortunate. Not everyone can speak so highly of their jobs. Most people would reserve that spot for loved ones or particularly tasty foods.
Well, it's tied to my soulmates too, and my friends. Oh, and my muscles too, can't forget him. Also, have you seen Space? It's up there also.
Not personally, no. Okay, there are a few ways he could have been involved. Being the center of the information highway, or likely being close to people like Sestro. You could approach this a few ways. Really though, you've wasted enough time and you would really like to hurry this up. I'm going to have to ask you to show me your Scorp logs. As someone who's so closely involved with the inner workings of Scorp, I have to make sure everybody's clean. You understand, don't you? If you're clean, you have nothing to worry about. The fact that he looks visibly worried almost makes you smile. You're absolutely positive he didn't do the actual deed itself, but it's certainly possible he's had a hand in this.
Sure, alright. What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. No secrets between friends.
You waste no time in moving behind his desk as he logs back in. At least he isn't putting up a fight, even if you could easily do this yourself by force. You can plainly see his password scribbled on a post-it note stuck to his computer monitor. It's, "Let me in."
Let me in.
Okay.
Let me in!
Oh, let me in! His Scorp account has a different password, but considering it's a 13 characters long, you're willing to bet it's a combination of "let me in" and "Scorp." Yep, that too is on the password note. Taco time? Cool, bud. Congrats on Taco Time anime. Also, hi Kim. Hey.
Hi, Kim.
How's it going? You're outside gardening today? Hell yeah.
Alright, here's the old radio station. Have at it.
And by gardening, I mean covering the ground with rocks. Oh, I see.
Rockin'.
Well, you don't bother to take a seat. You're not going to leave yourself that defenseless. You keep a close eye on him in your peripheral vision, like a paranoid vulture. He could jump anytime. Zen Garden. Yeah, rocks. He is apparently a big fan of Siraj Feltry, because her name and image are plastered all over his Scorp theme. There are also many hearts and lovey-dovey photos of the two together. You kind of refrain from telling him that you're close to throwing up in your mouth just a little bit. You did say your soulmates were ranked at #1 as well, didn't you? I can certainly see that there's some merit to this claim.
Mission's little number from the coding department. Those guys are just on the ball, huh?
The ball seems to be rolling through sludge, because the system lags like it's diseased. You spend a few minutes snooping around his messages, checking back on your little Lee, and it doesn't look like he's too concerned. A lot of it is legitimate talk of deadlines and ideas and encouragement. And also him bouncing jokes he clearly got from the internet off of his coworkers. Priority 1, search his contacts. You don't understand why Scorp doesn't let you see names attached to their troll tags, but you know that Sistra has a very memorable shade of purple. BRB. Hi, anime. After a brief search, you found the heir's troll tag, but... Do you and Sestro have any chat history at all? There's nothing but an unaccepted friend request here.
I wish, man, but I wouldn't give to meet and friend him. I'm sure he gives fantastic handshakes. Can you imagine? I can't not respect a guy with such clear visions. It's alright, I'm sure he just got lost in the mail or something.
He got left unread. Wow. You're going to move on and try not to snoop too much into the wrong, terribly depressing thing. With a lot of power comes a lot of rationality. That's the saying, right? You keep scrolling through his contacts, but you can't find anybody giving him orders of any kind. Rock guarding. Oh, hard to hear steak over the background? No! Okay, I'll turn it down some.
I mean, I am kind of like far back.
You can get a little closer.
Yeah, actually. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. How's this?
I turned the audio down, and now steak is a smidge closer. If I move this any further, it's gonna stop picking me up. Oh.
Yeah.
I can go like that. Tilt it slightly. Alright.
Is that better?
Test, 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 test.
Test, test. Audio jungle. Audio jungle.
You can actually see the mic here. That's us. We want to be in that general circle.
Check, check. Yep, looks like I'm good.
Alright. It's okay, too, because this is more of a warm-up, this guy is.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have that much, obviously. Right. At this rate, he guess he couldn't have gotten information from anybody important, because he doesn't know anyone important. Oof. Your search ends at the top of his list, and when you're about to investigate Riddle Manager, he gets a little antsy. This is... Siraj, I take it?
The one and only. The best and only Siraj there is and ever should be.
With a click of a mouse, you're in. And boy, do you enjoy the smell of suspicion in the evening. Their latest conversation is particularly interesting. Rise and shine, sweetie. It's almost go time. Meet me in the break room to go over the details. Whatever you say, smooshy smoosh. Can't wait to know what you've been dying to tell me. It's a big one, promise. You won't regret this. Look at the investigation bar exploding like this.
Not the only thing that's exploding.
Don't say that. You don't know how to feel about the fact that Ripet wasn't the one to say smoochy smoosh, but more importantly, timestamps date this conversation less than 24 hours before the crime. Anything to say, Mr. Colden? You expect to grill him insistently over the course of the next few hours, but he looks ready to burst already.
Okay, you got me all talk. My grublet and I might have been a little late back from my breaks recently. I've been giving her...
Oh, leaked information?
pep talks.
Fucking... I don't know what to press for that. I was gonna press a button, but I'm good.
Bruh.
That's your big lead. Ripet's a cheerleader. He's giving you a headache instead of an L, an E, an A, and a D.
Yeah, work's been stressing her out, so we meet up in a secret spot and I give her encouragement. But we only do it during work because that's when she needs it most.
You slump back in your seat and try to keep your bitter thoughts to yourself. He's a real piece of work despite doing nothing noteworthy at all.
Am I in trouble?
Second. I'm aware the wedding is in a couple days. Are we good?
Yeah, I said it.
No. It just reloaded the chat real quick.
Okay.
We're still good. Da. Yeah, okay. Just making sure. Alright. I'll look the other way. At the notion of being let off the hook, he seems to perk right back up like nothing happened. He's leaving that little episode behind, looks like. Alright, let's get out of here. You're wasting your time, you think to yourself. You've gained nothing from this conversation. He's looking to you, silently asking what the problem seems to be. It's not his business, quite frankly. He's giving you a gentle look, like he's trying to sedate a frightened animal.
I'm sure you're doing okay. You don't seem tip-top shape to me.
I'm fine. You've only wasted precious time on a false hope, after all. Ripet doesn't look convinced.
I didn't let you down, did I?
I didn't think you'd notice. Ouch. You see him recoil a little, but he manages to fight through it. You appreciate the resilience. You wouldn't want to draw attention to the bawling boss in his office. Sorry. It's just been a rocky start to a very high-stakes investigation. How old are you, if I may? Wow, the narration is so mean to this guy, lol. Yeah, Cicely is pretty harsh.
Well, 12 sweeps. I assume you're the same.
I'm practically twice your age. I wouldn't say I'm qualified to give you advice for management, but I certainly have some life lessons under my belt. Here's one on the house. The first pawn you move can spell your downfall from the very start. It doesn't matter how you play the rest of the game if you begin poorly. The opening gambit sets the scene. Can't rewind that. All you can do is mend the damage before your throat is slit and you bleed to death a regretful husk. Not everyone can move ahead so blindly without thinking, like some companies around here. A moment of silence hangs uncomfortably in the air as he tries to figure out what to say. You can see the words buried under his tongue, different ones attempting escape with no luck. You start to pack your papers and stand up, thoroughly spent from a few hours of learning how much of a goofball a boss can really be. I'll be seeing you.
Actually, I need you to just wait just a second, miss.
Excuse you? As you turn around to follow him, you see him marching over to the door, sliding his wheelie desk chair right in front of the door under the handle. He doesn't even prop the chair up to the doorknob to stop anyone else from coming in, or lock the wheels, or anything. You do realize I can easily move that out of the way. I have people to talk to. Or even just sneak past the gap he'd left behind some very light furniture, because it's not entirely a snug fit. Not a traditional en passant, but practical all the same. At first he doesn't respond, instead of wiping all of his creative mind map from the whiteboard.
You have a puzzle to solve, and I've got 2 thumbs and also a puzzle to solve.
What even is that typing quirk? Cecily's typing quirk is chess moves. So while she's talking to someone, she's playing a chess game. Usually I think it always ends in a draw. Yeah.
Yes, that's the thing.
Right.
What the help, Cicely? I know we can work together and come up with an answer for these mysteries. I'm a creative director and a creative director. You wanted me to think, and I really, really want to do something.
Lamau, what? That's so random. For chess? No, she is like an investigator. She's like a very logical character. So like her quirk is to like, just while she's trying to hash out mysteries, she like does a little chess game as part of her speaking. I think it's clever. Plus, it's very unobtrusive. You can read everything she's saying, unlike some quirks where they like make it incomprehensible. Anyway.
I don't know how I feel about letting you walk out of here without having anything done.
That looked somewhat important. You'd written that the deadline is in 2 days. Please tell me you backed that all up somewhere.
Nope, it was the only copy that existed, and now it's gone forever. Helping you is more important.
Cool! I mean, I don't think I've seen a typing quirk that's also playing a game in the background. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's not many games you could do that properly with as like a quirk, so it's kind of cool. It also is supposed to show she's old-fashioned. Well, now that I've negatively impacted your work schedule, I really should be going.
Nonsense, we have a crooked catch.
And so he gets to scribbling. Scribbling and scrawling and jotting down words and linking them with wavy lines.
Let's just mark the keywords.
Look at the doodle in the back of the dead troll with the word dead frowny face. He's underlining every word he writes. You don't figure he's letting you go until he thinks he's helped you. Oh well, you might as well save the measly 2 snaps it would take to note this down. He at least remembers everything you told him. He's a good listener. All the keynotes are present. Unfortunately, he seems to procrastinate not 5 seconds after you mentally compliment him. What's with all these swirly clouds up top? Not an attempt to recreate the scene of the snowy crime, I hope. There's a suspicious amount of delight he shows when you ask.
Why, you can't have a synapse squall without clouds? What kind of storm would it be without clouds?
Buddy!
It's as we say on whether or not it's a good day, sometimes you need clouds.
You're right.
There isn't as much you can count on, but you can always count on clouds being there, you know? Imagine it raining without knowing when or why. You'd get drenched and given at least 15 different viruses with no warning whatsoever.
Cool. Side note, this planet is super polluted. Just letting you know, so it doesn't seem like they just get murdered by rain for fun. I love Ripite. Ripite's fun. These early ones, I'm not as into the earlier ones, but I think the characters themselves are fun. Your eyes focus on the board for a moment. You hear Ripite excitedly trying to inspire you, but none of it sticks. You hear everything he says, but it brushes past you like wind in the grass. It's a nice sentiment for sure, but it doesn't give you answers. It's nothing but fluff. Surface level boon. Eventually, he notices that you're not looking at him and joins you in reviewing the facts. The silence is clearly making him uncomfortable, but that might also be his sudden urge to make it up to you clawing at his psyche. Never mind that he's eating into both his time and yours of his own volition. I appreciate the assistance, for the record. You don't have to be doing this. Now I'm just cutting into your work time. You're allowed to let me handle this. I'm qualified, just off to a rocky start. No investigation is simple from start to finish. Not with crimes this drastic. ... And yet, here you are. You try hard, I'll give you that. Just don't leave your employees hanging for too long.
Ah, don't worry about my job. They'll be fine. There's a time and place for us all, don't you know?
You're getting a strong wave of deja vu. I guess we'll recall the inspirational slogan. This happened like half an hour ago. You don't need to bring this up again. What's next? Recalling every time someone says hello to you? Alright, let's move on.
I was really, really hoping that there was going to be a recall every time someone said hello.
No!
Wait, that
Too
sounds that
much.
feels like a Homestuck thing. I don't know if that's a Vastera thing.
I mean, sometimes.
Yeah.
That's more of an anime thing. We're calling something that happened 10 minutes ago.
I mean, just like making a joke about like doing that and then immediately doing that.
And then immediately after. Yeah, that's true. Ripite goes to scribble more possibilities down. You can't see past his body, so you're left waiting in suspense until he pulls away to present his new theories. No, they weren't frozen to death. It was intentional assassination. Cuts in the bodies proved as much. Plus, they were driving inside a vehicle, where it snows considerably less.
Ooh.
The board squeaks as that notion is erased and replaced with another not 10 seconds later. They didn't turn on each other either. Who would have run off with the vial if all three were killed? Oh no! With another tisk, he's putting one more idea on the line, and that's just the plot of a mystery novel released 4 sweeps ago. Yeah, he's talking about the character arc of one of countless Brendan Fraser roles in the film adaptations. Is he serious? He looks serious. The plot of that book looks even worse scrawled on a whiteboard, but you decide to bite the bullet and pat him on the head. You know what? I'll let you know if we get a ransom note from a man with many skills from inside corporate. I sincerely promise.
Aha! I knew it. There was always someone with inside the company. Who else would know what was inside the truck?
You're the one who said that, but whatever. You bite your tongue as you drag the impromptu blockade he set up out of the way. You're eager to find some new leads, and even if it seems anticlimactic, you need some space.
Oh, are we done?
But of course, I have an infiltrator with many skills to catch after all. Thanks for your help. You try in earnest not to sound sarcastic, because then you'll probably be subjected to more randomly generated murder mystery plot twists and hurt feelings. It seems to work, because Ripite catches and shakes your hand goodbye before you can escape, and tosses you his business card while he's at it.
It's good to branch out if you need help. Every branch comes from the same tree after all. Don't forget, you've got your back.
You have no idea what the joke he's clearly hinting at is. He's winking and grinning and patting himself on the back, for some reason. You thank him politely yet sternly confirm that you're leaving. Da-da-dum. You breathe out a sigh of relief when you finally step out of his office. You could do with a trip to the monster boiler yourself, seeing workers buy all that energy drink. But it's time for you to clock out. You've learned virtually nothing, but you suppose you have some new phone numbers for your bank. He apparently wrote down his soulmate's numbers in the back of his card, too. In blue pen, his moral is described as good at puzzles like this. You start wondering whether or not it's worth it to reach out to another detective, before the reason his voice had inflected strangely earlier dawns on you.
I've got your back.
He meant to look okay. Sigh. You flip the card over to its front pocket again. You flip the card over to its front again and shove it carelessly in your pocket. You're moving on to a new suspect. Da-da-da-dum. Yeah, that first one definitely is like... They're cute. They're cute, but they don't get into the lore as much. Or I guess the first two. This one is where things start to pick up. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Another half-remembered dream. You're a sprawling machine, every piece of you grinding with effort, going too long without being maintained. Start screen. Yeah, start screen updates after every case. It's very cute. Your gears scream and spark with a grating noise that, taken all at once, is an atonal melody, brilliant in its simplicity. You sing for the effort and the labor. You turn and turn, never done. You wake before sunrise, as always. God, your head. You open your eyes and stare out from the Recuperacoon at your room, glowing with the dim pastel light of the stronghold that filters through your blinds. Your burgeoning headache protests at even that meager intrusion of light, and you let out a gentle hiss in pain. You have got to stop trying to match drinks with girls 10 sweeps younger than you, especially when both the girls and the drinks themselves might be actively trying to kill you. After enjoying the darkness for a few moments more, you drag yourself out of the coop. Relaxing as the slime inside may be, the antiseptic odor is threatening to make you sick. You grab your ice screen and set it to scroll through the messages you received overnight, along with your usual automated news feeds, looking for any headlines related to the thefts. Attempted convenience store robbery ends in concussion when perp slips on puddle of nacho cheese. Ramona Raquel's priceless necklace stolen at ball. WrestleMania becomes murder mania, 12 dead. How for art thou, wench? You up? Been too long since we came to blows. Dont'th thou think, winky face? HMU girl, you know where I beeth. Okay, that last one wasn't a headline. Neither are the next 11, where her spelling gets even worse. Worseth. Good heavens, you hate her for even making you think that. You button up your shirt and run a comb through your hair, not concerning yourself with a few gray strands. You've got a couple more leads to pursue. Alright. Corn or Mooney? Also, do you want to do 2 more, or do you want to just do 1? Because we could just do BitCon if you want and be good. Or we could do both of these.
I am formulating a voice for BitCon, and I'm probably not going to be able to do another one after that.
Alright, this is fair. It is strenuous. I think we'd be fine. That first part is already an hour, so we'll just do 1 more. And the next time I'll do Husky Macy. See if I can get someone with it. If not, I'll just do it myself too. It is fine. Alright, time to read BitCon Crypto. Look at the picture of the back.
What is that?
A crime.
What?
Be as quiet as a rat. It's a shitty drawing of him as a rat.
Oh, shh.
Thanks, bud. Looney Tunes Back in Action 89 coming soon. Your investigations yesterday didn't prove as fruitful as you'd hoped, so today you're going to try something different. Sometimes, arming yourself with facts or logic isn't enough. Sometimes, you just have to go with what your gut tells you. You stride along the lonely streets of Stronghold 21. It's very late, the time roaming somewhere around the mid-negatives, but you are more than used to the setting by now. In fact, you prefer it. There is a sort of peace to be found in the dead glow of morning. The city performs its sinfonetta as if by rote, all for an audience of 1. Crosswalks spanning empty streets invite you with automated tones. Beep, beep, beep. At any other time, the street would be a flashing multicolored mess. Neon signs and LCD panels would all be fighting for your attention, peddling distraction after distraction. New fashions that'll go from hot couture to discount rack in a sweep. The McRib is back at the steamed ham joint on the corner. Yarrow Balgriff is in smash! You have limited understanding of what the last one means. Thanks.
I want your book.
Music plays distantly from various vacant storefronts. Pop hits and elevator jazz, all reverberating off the architecture into square waves of pleasantly echoing sound. Every stronghold is eerily similar. They're all carefully partitioned, and as sterilized as the multi-purpose slime solution that is used as a general cleaning aid by most of the populace. That solution is also the same one your species uses to bathe in. It kind of burns when you use it for that purpose, at least at first. Easing into the pain, however, is simply a matter of practice. You're sure there's a solid metaphor you could be making here. Ooh. Crab has closed the door.
Yeah.
Something pertaining to the stakes held in this kind of industry, perhaps. But you digress. It may just be that primordial sludge you drank during the talking, but recently, you found yourself with the recurring feeling of being trapped, stuck in an endless recycle of repetition. Not only recently, and not only as far as this case is concerned, but for your whole life. It started after you spoke to Rapite. The two suspects you interrogated thus far have led you nowhere in exactly the same way. Same actions, same motions, same shit on a different day. This will not be one of those days, you tell yourself. And yet, the nagging feeling that it could amount to nothing but another blurry spot in the picture you're trying to piece together is something that makes your mouth press into a black-lipped scowl. A few of the Stronghold residents are still wandering around, those among them, you presume, whose circadian rhythm is off-kilter. I can read, I swear. They're not paying close attention to your affairs, though. Some seem to be outright avoiding you. Just like when you hunted for Siraj. Just like always. You had to take a risk. On a whim, you decided to make arrangements with someone not part of your initial roster of suspects. You hassled a poor receptionist in the main corporate building to that end. The man has always been too anxious to say no to your requests. A few pointed calls later, and you're scheduled to meet your mark after hours at one of his business establishments in order to properly discuss your investment options. Little does he know what this so-called investment entails. There's nothing for you to gain here except knowledge. Knowledge and a deep-seated sense of satisfaction whenever you inevitably pin this scruffy player to the board. You may believe in being clear-cut with many of your choices, but every now and again a surprise can be just what you need in order to advance towards a new stage of the game. The game in question is called Life, and you are about to knock another piece right off the table. Let's recall Bitcoin crypto. Steamed hams, you're right. Bitcoin crypto. You've had your scouter set on him for sweeps now, but you have never been able to catch him in the act of, well, anything. Not embezzlement, not fraud, not even good old and decent exposure. That slimy little rodent has always managed to give you the slip before you got the chance to inspect him for disease. All perps eventually mold themselves into some kind of allegorical vermin in your, quite bland, all things considered, imagination. But there's really no need to be going on such an inane tangent inside your own head. Who are you even explaining this to? Yourself? The point is, he is the giant rat that makes all of the rules in his field. There, plain and simple. You know exactly what type of man he is. He started young, a regular con man. For many, it's the ideal pursuit in these trying times. Everyone wants more than they already have, and some even genuinely need it. Bitcon doesn't strike you as the latter, though. He quickly rose to the ranks of scammers and cheats, the cash of gullible fools succulent and ripe for his taking. From a start in television and show business, he moved on to business, and did not rest until he had a vice-like grip on the ebb and flow of currency. Now, the public bows to his every financial whim, and not even corporate regulations seem capable of keeping him in check anymore. Cypher Cash didn't hold anyone's interest until Bitcoin was involved. Haha. But in no time at all, he single-handedly expanded the market's relevance, from entirely worthless to an alarmingly massive phenomenon. Of the currently existing 5,786 or so forms of analog tender, he's either personally crafted or otherwise popularized roughly a quarter of the total sum. Whether or not all of those are still maintained is irrelevant. The bottom line is, the guy's fucking minted.
Is it NFT?
Yes. Yeah. You can tell that this is supposed to be like an awful, terrible, fucked up, evil society that all these characters are living in. Because the guy named Bitcoin Crypto is doing very well for himself. But, you know. And with such a striking amount of equity on full display, he may very well be the highest bidder on a certain missing piece of history.
Boys, screenshot this NFT.
Alright, take it in, baby. You want to buy some bald coin?
Bald coin.
Yeah, or some not money?
I'm personally for that lust coin in the corner there.
Next to P coin? Thanks. Awful, thanks, Moolah. Oh
Mun.
my god. Alright, you were so focused on recalling, or aggressively not doing that, as the case may be, that you didn't realize you were pushing through the revolving doors that lead into the Stronghold 21 currency dome. It's not your favorite hunting ground for white-collar crime, but it's certainly the most bustling. Ooh, new ep of Dr. Stone was awesome. That's nice. Clap, clap. I've heard that is good from friends who have read the manga, but I don't know about the show. I haven't been keeping up. And just like clockwork, the noted trailblazers and easily suckered alike scramble and close in at the slightest hint of fresh blood. You can't make out any of the words these frantic two-piece suit types holler as you press forward. The electronic ringing of alarms, phones, and endless chatter all coalesce into a singular wall of amorphous noise, and it makes you grit your teeth. Your head hurts. No matter, you have already spotted your target. When he told you to search for a sign of excellence, we were fully prepared to engage in a mutual bout of falsified identity. Cryptic statements such as this usually precede these exchanges. The suggestion to meet at a non-covert location did leave you apprehensive, but, as you said, you've been in a risk-taking mood lately. What you were not expecting was a bona fide electronic light show booth sitting smack dab in the middle of the complex's main floor. The damned monstrosity is even complete with a gaudy, headache-inducing, as seen on TV, flashing signs. Signs that could threaten the continued use of your wearied eyes. You immediately start to regret this. He's sitting pretty behind his remarkably empty stand. As you make your way to him, chin propped up on interlocked fingers, it's almost as if he laced an entire circle around himself with repellent. There's the fucker! Are you ready?
Yeah, I need to get it right, because incredibly fearless.
This people is the true patron of our craft, as none of us dared leech from a master in a world unknown.
You prepare to deploy one of your famed rugged coughs in order to draw his attention to you, as opposed to the non-existent audience he seems to be addressing at present. Bitcoin talks fast enough to cut that idea off before the phlegm even has a chance to reach your pipes.
Don't worry, I just like to brag. It keeps the weak-willed away.
Okay.
Welcome to the club.
Ah, yes. The club. Under your current fabricated persona, you concocted a cover story about wishing to join the ranks of his nasty little clique, bound together in the loose trappings of a frail economy as they are. Still, you feel a deep, soul-curdling revulsion at his words. You really do not care for the insinuation that Bitcon and you are anything in the vicinity of peers. Cliques and clubs were never something you cared to involve yourself with, due to a simple fact. You like to win. On your own terms, by your own merit. And you do quite simply despise this man.
My name is Bitcoin Crypto. Surely you know me from one of the places of our official phone line, and obviously in my many adverts on television. You're Miss Anonymous?
Fucking name? Okay, thanks. Look at it, they put it on the window, thanks. That's the name I've given you, yes.
Blunt, I like it.
It's very easy to formulate aliases in a world where names can range from perfectly serviceable to absolute gibberish. They're all inherently meaningless. Cool. One moment. I need a water.
Yeah. Someone hit the liquid button.
Liquid! Was I gotta clear my throat. Ugh. Yeah, these are marathons a little bit. That's why I need friends. I just also noticed Baldcoin Diamond Edition.
I personally like the Bitcoin just in the corner.
Yeah, there it is.
Or the moolah.
Cola coin. These are very good. Also, I'm pretty sure almost all the trolls in this picture are OCs. Like,
Probably.
from the people who worked on the game. It's cute. Alright. I read this whole thing, right? I said, yeah. I did. Blink. You typically tend to err on the side of an indistinct mash of letters. Something like a zoom whoosh, for example. And it always works. It was a purely tactical measure to come up with something a little more stupid. After all, Bitcoin spends his time mentally diving into pools of worthless metal, certainly not the sharpest tool in the box. You're not the biggest fan of undercover gigs. With what's on the line, though, you will try your damnedest to seem as ignorant and non-threatening as possible. All in the name of your job, of course. Anon Yemus.
I've been looking forward to our meetings at the... I'm afraid that my office isn't exactly in working order at the moment, but this place is far better suited to newcomers after the trade hours. Which, of those that are inserted into said trade, know is slang for prime time to meet big stupid trolls. Big stupid trolls who yearn for stupidly huge reward. So in the interest of your interest in being heard, let's not waste a moment more of your time with common courtesy. You seem to know exactly what you're about. We can get you started with a lower string of tender. There are several light risk options you can deal in that haven't caught on yet. You never specified your price range, so I'm going to assume that you're broke. That's less than a problem here. No loops, no credit, no issue. Just give me your arms. New ideas, no risk. We can even hook you up with the Netcoin mental copyright stalking plan right away. Easy peasy.
Well, this is going to be easier than expected. You could meticulously tap him out, slow dripping little pieces of information through an orderly conversation. Just standing here and talk to him, each of you wielding your respective personal quirks, as your non-diegetic progress bar slowly fills itself in. If you learned anything from your first couple suspects, that's exactly what you'll be forced to do, for what will seem like an eternity that goes nowhere. You'll just have to prepare for the mental density that requires. You have absolutely no interest in dealing with this man for even a second longer than necessary. The reason you decided Bitcoin even ranked on the suspicion meter in the first place is that you're well aware of the seedy underbelly these businesses usually breed. There's no shortage of those interested in sending this planet's marketplace so far into the black, it may as well be made of garbage. You can't just idly chat about these run-of-the-mill currencies. You'd be here all day. You have to go all in. You have to think like him. You have to try and go stupid.
Go crazy, go stupid.
Oh, that won't be necessary. I have a much better idea of what I would like from this deal.
And what would that be?
Well, I'm not really clear on the specifics. That's much more your department. But, if you were to ask me, I'm simply of the belief that all bright lights cast a... You add in a dramatic pause for good measure. Shadow. Bitcoin makes a vain attempt to hide a pointed smirk. His eyes are darting across the room, as if he's trying to keep tabs on every single person in the vicinity. You have him. Hook, line, and sinker. In the past, you've had to perform a fair number of mundane tasks for your job. Trawling through the bear market of Repeton's unmitigated disaster of an internet landscape probably ranks as one of the easiest so far. Picking up the lingo of the underground set tends to sling around as a natural consequence in your line of work. Expected, even. When you're constantly pulling stunts such as trailing bomb threats and putting a stop to unjust attacks and mirthomaniac torture chambers, it's kind of difficult not to. Those types love to use codenames when they speak. A single word that shows what they're about. Hermit and Noxious are two you can think of off the top of your shot-for-shot intellect. They also don't like to speak in quirks, and are very fond of their special codes. Shadow tends to broadly refer to all kinds of under-the-table services, including specific types of cryptocurrency. At any rate, Bitcoin gets your picture and takes the bait. He's suddenly much more excited about you as a client. Now that's direct service.
This job never gets old.
Agreed. Oh, there is absolutely a hidden place in the back. You know there is. You can't wait for him to say it. Please say that you have to follow him and slink right off into the...
Hold that thought. Don't touch that dial. I will see that your needs are met.
He casually flips his chair around from behind his gaudy little booth and just starts kicking his foot against the floor. It doesn't seem rhythmic, or like any kind of formal code you know, really. My needs are currently sitting at a very stagnant place. Just what exactly are you trying to accomplish here?
Why, giving you just what you desire, of course. You want to see that dark side of this industry, don't you?
A low, garbled hiss sounds from below. Immediately, Bitkin stops his incessant tapping and tosses his chair to the side, beckoning you forward with beady eyes and that pinpoint grin.
This is the way down to it.
You realize he was speaking in very literal terms as he ducks down and disappears from view. To say that this was nowhere near what you had in mind would be a gross understatement. You suppose it makes sense that a rat has his tunnels. Also, you really need to stop with the rat comparisons. This guy doesn't even have a rat Lucis on file. You don't think you can help it on second thought. He just fits the bill way too well. You waste no time in tailing him. Apparently, there is a sort of lock mechanism on this tile that springs open whenever a certain beat sequence is met. A relatively new security measure. This building was renovated recently, you recall. It doesn't seem to be a secret, either. None of the couple hundred or so trolls in the lobby area pay you any mind as you inspect the opening. Your hunch is that this leads into one of the underground structures formerly occupied by the age-old brooding caverns and war colonies, long since repurposed. You need to see permits to be sure, though. Luckily, you don't need any kind of permit to be invited right into the that is, the lion's den. You have a special interrogation to start. A narrow, dimly lit chrome staircase leads you downwards as you slink off and close the tile behind you. Ugh. Claustrophobia claws at you as soon as the hatch closes. You're forced to hunch, just to keep your horns from scraping at the ceiling. Your only guiding lights are the murmur of surreptitious conversations and the dim bulbs lining the walls on the way down. A line starting at the very end of the stairs slowly comes into view. What in the world are so many people even doing in this dinky, cramped corridor? They must have been waiting there for hours. This obnoxious chatter is way too loud for such a small space. You make your way to the end of the steps, finally catching sight of Bitcoin, whatever. It seems that he cut his way to the front of the room as you were busy contemplating this hall's poor design choices. It also seems that he is quite the star with this crowd. He's shaking hands left and right, throwing around practiced smiles and making lively conversation about stocks with multiple people. He's completely ignoring you. You shoulder past a cluster of strolls. I'm getting very tired. You shoulder past a cluster of trolls to the sound of indignant grunts and exclamations. He's well into a tirade about convincing some soul-sighted jack-off to shoot their overpriced luxury car into space by the time you reach him. You fix him with a glare. He simply grins at you. Bitcoin adjusts his tie, which is to say, makes it look even more haphazardly tossed around his neck, and motions towards a discreet entrance you hadn't noticed until now. He doesn't wait for you to follow him before spinning on his heels and entering the room. The line scooches to the side of you, but they seem much less enthused about your presence than they were with his, probably out of jealousy for your VIP treatment, rugged looks, and charming personality. That, or it's just the fact that outsiders tend to be looked down upon by any sort of close-knit community. Really, it's either or. You don't particularly care about the specifics when you're this far into the search for a lead. Well, the bunker you're led into is much more your speed compared to the messy, frantic runabouts happening on the floor above or the crowd you left behind. A lukewarm and hazy atmosphere permeates the room, with every patron either paying you no mind at all or carefully watching your every move. You're better accustomed to this more miserable kind of company. It's an acquired taste, but you much prefer to dance on floors like this, among the anonymous, the shifting, and the spotlight dodgers. There's something to be said about your customer service that I can't quite put my finger on.
Now, let's not jump from blunt to hasty. I mingle. Every single person here has been my client at some point or another. I'm a very cool and popular.
Cool.
So cool and popular, in fact, that I was able to snag a nice little private room just for the two of us. This way we'll be able to comfortably discuss what exactly you want from my services. Impressed?
It's so very thoughtful of you to do exactly what your job requires. If I didn't know any better, I would even call you a gentleman.
Oh no, I'm absolutely nothing of the sort. People familiar with the trade have a particular saying about the kind of man that I am.
You repress your urge to root around in your pan for more rat-based metaphors. I can't say I'd know exactly what that would be. I'm very new to this.
Is that so? Because as far as I can tell, you seem very old and very tired. So, why don't you follow along, cut the bullshit, and tell me all we actually think of me? Cecily?
Uh-oh. He once again moves too fast for you to come up with an answer, casually putting an arm around your shoulders and dragging you into a nearby dividend confessional. Oh my god.
Wait.
Scary. It's narrower than the stairwell, with a higher ceiling and 2 built-in slabs against its side walls for seats. You feel as though you have no room to breathe. Your own coat might as well be a noose tied around your neck. Bitcon, on the other hand, seems perfectly accustomed to it. In fact, he looks downright expectant. Well, if that's how he wants to play it, who are you to disappoint? You prepare to start your usual questioning routine, as you are well established to do by now.
Go ahead and state your business, Miss Ayopara. This wing is 100% soundproof, guaranteed.
How did you know it was me?
That's a really piss poor question, you know that, right? Not the most formidable opener. What you should actually be asking is, how could I not know it was you? Your intuition must be as bad as your fake names.
From the outside looking in, you seemed like nothing more than a dolt who's had one too many easy streaks. I thought you would buy it. Also, must you bring out that voice every single time you try to make a point? It's grating on television, it's grating through text, and it's grating coming out of your mouth right now.
What can I say? I'm a big fan of my voice. I like to project. But to further expand on your previous points, let's talk a bit more about one of my favorite subjects. Me! Surely you have more than familiar about how this works, Cecily? I have people just as you have people. Informants, assistants, whole thousand expanses. I just so happen to have mine bundled up in a single convenient little intern package.
So, one person.
Honestly, I had no idea that you wanted to do me up until this morning when they traced that call back to your headquarters. You had to be on my tail on account of all that old blood. Both yours and the one you were chasing after, of course.
Ooh.
Inspired as we are in deliberate misinformation and fake news, it's not hard to read between the lines and find out what's really going on. I never brought into any of those warped ancestral mumbo jumbo the media tries to feed us, but it seems as though you're in need of someone to implicate at this point. And who's better than yours, truly? You know, with the way your reputation precedes you, it's a wonder you're not as famous as me, Cecily.
I've gotten that a lot recently. What I actually need is for this case to be solved, and I'm already sick of going to someone only to find they don't have answers. I'm hardened, hungover, and hellbent, so forgive me if I sound a bit short at the moment. It seems like you've been waiting for me to make a move, even though I could never catch you before. If you wanted to speak with me so badly, you could have spared us both the trouble and done so by now. I would have been happy to either take you in or watch the blood drip from your chest. The song and dance number you put me through was completely unnecessary.
You're here now, though. And isn't that what matters? Besides, I do enjoy a healthy amount of showmanship. Some glitz, some glamour, some pizzazz. But if an interrogation is what you want, Miss Ayabara, I'm an open market. Before we start it all off, however, you still have to riddle me this. What do people call me?
You find yourself resigned. For once, you're forced to bend to someone else's will, brought down to their level, quite literally. You made a mistake in underestimating an experienced hustler, a dealer with no limits, a con artist who knows exactly how the system falls into place, a kind you're no stranger to tangoing with. A thief.
Bingo.
Alright. Let's not bribe him. There's no way that would work. Shadow currency or assert implications. What are you thinking?
Let's see.
Implications? He did just say that he knows about the old blood, which is the thing that we're chasing after. Because the original case was that blood belonging to like a really, really old person from like long ago that can like revive people basically was stolen. So that's what he meant by that.
Yeah, I'd probably go with the implication.
Yeah. Alright, assert implications. It seems like you have a deeper understanding of this case than you should. I don't think it would be a stretch to assume a swindler of your caliber may have had something to do with the theft.
You don't say. Fascinating theory, regulator, considering I'm getting production company on the whole.
Oops, I don't want that. Get me out of here. Hee-hoo. Alright.
If you need an agent, I once met a quite young, handsome gentleman in the mirror.
You consider deploying a nasty burn involving his looks, but he already barely takes you seriously without any half-baked, flimsy insult thrown in the ring. Give me one good reason not to make you kiss your assets goodbye.
I'll do you one better, as a matter of fact. Apply for one, boom, get one free.
Cocky bastard.
Here's one made to order. Prove I did it. In this sphere, we take facts and spades. You have any evidence of my involvement? I would think that you've had plenty of time to practice since your last attempt. So I'm a thief. Big deal. There's a surplus of them all around us, and we're getting to the overstock savings. No shortage at all. I just happen to be the one who had the most experience thus far.
That one stings for multiple reasons. He's right, regrettably. You haven't been doing a spectacular job at proving your point, so you hold your tongue. Let him keep talking. Bait him into more conversation until something spills. You wait for his second point, and he better not be taking your silence as defeat.
As for my next number, you're in my arena, personally tailored to my needs, wants, and desires. Consider the following. 2 people have walked deep into this little neck and blow-up foliage clump. Don't you think it would be a mite suspicious if only one of them were to walk out? Or perish without escorting the other out in handcuffs?
Funny how he thinks he has any chance of being calmly escorted out in handcuffs, fully conscious.
There are quite a number of eyewitnesses, Cecily, and us currency enthusiasts are very observant.
What makes you think I'd simply stop my investigation and leave if you did turn out to be involved?
Oh, yes. Let me be a stationary target for you to catch at your leisure now that you have got to know each other a little better.
You, my friends are here. Nice. Clap. Have a good time with your buddies, anime.
Same time and place tomorrow?
Sounds lovely. Every word you say makes me more enthusiastic about the prospect of driving a blade into your chest. What leaves his mouth can only be described as a parody of genuine amusement. It might have been convincing if you weren't dedicated to detecting minor behavioral quirks. If you're done stroking your ego,
Absolutely not. But carry on, regulator. Prove my guilt.
It's hard to admit that you're only here because of a gut feeling, but you know for a fact that he'll be able to deflect any woolly evidence you attempt to pull over his eyes. On the subject of eyes, you swear the longer you stare at a striped suit, the more your internal matrix treats it as some sort of form of optical illusion. Ugh.
That's what I thought.
Need I remind you that I've been chasing you for some time, Bitcon? Don't think I can only take you in for charges relating to this case.
Oh, you couldn't keep me out of the picture if you tried.
Those are very bold words coming from someone whose continued existence you don't care for in the slightest. I'm dying to know what could possibly make you think that.
I hold a very special place in the hearts of many. I'm this close to having a valuable autograph. So if my blood were to stain your hands on account of a mere good instinct, if you were to kill a planet-wide hero simply because of his questionable involvement in a nebulous web of responsibility, financial stability drops like these prices. Shadow loops crash like clumsy avians. Values skyrocket and plummet simultaneously. Power vacuum opens wide and every loop rubbing moolah twinning entrepreneur with half-baked plan and no charisma to speak tries to fill the void. The people's hearts are broken, cyber markets go stagnant, miners slave away without purpose.
He stands tall and proud throughout his spiel. Then, without warning, he rests a hand on his forehead and swoons hopelessly against your shoulder. The curly branch of his horn threatens to snag your coat.
Cecilia, I think of the economy.
I get it. You're very popular. The world has horrid taste in heroes.
It's like literally think about the economy.
Please, think about the economy. You can't kill a criminal. Now stop touching me before I turn you into a skewered rodent. Bitkin springs away from you like a drunken slinky, clearly lost in his own amusement. Unfortunately, he's made a point. You're only here because he's a fixture on your list of permanent suspects, even if you can't draw an immediate connection between him and this case at the moment. You'll need to bait him into spilling something a bit more illegal. Catch him in a rat trap. Thank you. You'll be here for as little time as possible because his overbearing cologne is starting to nullify your sense of smell. Alright, oh man, we still go with these. Let's avoid the bribe. Let's try this one. Shadow currency. Question use of shadow currency. For the purposes of preserving the illusion of choice without interfering with this non-linear sequence of events. Let's say you're an ambiguous amount of time into this. You're such an amount of time into this that his grating voice is making you regret ever picking up that disgusting mixture from Siraj. Your headache is beyond dissatisfied with today. You just want to get him talking. But how? I take it you'd refrain from giving me an actual answer if I condescendingly asked why you're so passionate about analog tender in the first place.
I'd feign hurt feelings, yes, but then I keep my lips sealed. But do you know what I take very kindly to? Praise so sweet it borders on sickening.
Oh, for crying out loud. I have no interest at all in trying to appeal to you.
Oh, and here I was ready to be all buttered up. Have a stick right here. I might even have something slip in my euphoria-induced celebration.
He is fishing for compliments. You cannot believe this man is fishing for compliments. You've gathered that he is just ridiculously vain at this point, but this is just... Ugh. Here goes. Well, there's really nobody better to ask than the rising star of the business world, I guess. An individual who is just so much more knowledgeable than me in all matters of economic. So please, Mr. Crypto, answer me this. Why do you have such a fascination with this chaotic cryptocurrency catastrophe.
It's hard not to be a fan of your alliteration. I'll tell you everything.
Cool.
It all started with a reduplicated marble. Growing from the whole of the humble virtual handshake command to the popular television extraordinaire on screens everywhere, and on to the unstoppable professional right in front of you now. You know a name like you know your mind.
I get the feeling I just wasted several undeserved compliments.
But wait, there's more.
Your ears are in fucking turmoil right now. Do us both a favor and make it snappy then. Perhaps use an inside voice if you're feeling benevolent.
Don't need to share my life story with you, you know. I have an autobiography for sale. Pre-order now before they fly off the shelves. I'm gonna give that turning fella a run for my money, mark my words.
We're done talking about shadow currency then. Are you happy with plugging yourself and moving on?
Of course not.
He exudes the aura of one of those ridiculous and greasy monorail supervisors, which applies even as he's taking a seat. He'd probably kick his feet up if he could. You know this because he's taking advantage of you declining to recline by using your own seat as his footrest.
Tell me, Cicely, did you ever wish things could just stay the same, boring, stagnant, forever trapped in mundanity and tediosity?
This feels like a trick question, and I'll refrain from answering.
Oh, please, who could have possibly feel life if every day was exactly the same? It would be torture. The worst possible outcome, don't let that happen to you.
There's a lull in his little speech. This is starting to get away from you, but you can't help being a bit curious when this man, of all people, seems to be getting into a bout of intense, contemplative navel-gazing. He's been thinking for too long, though. You let out a non-committal hum of interest to kick him into gear again.
There's something thrilling about always being kept on your toes, isn't it? Nothing quite like an adrenaline rush to remind you that you're making the most of life.
The adrenaline of walking the tightrope of a terribly unstable system, which threatens to implode on itself at any moment. As much as you're pouring your soul into making that a sarcastic question, you'd be a hypocrite if you said that you weren't one for constant brushes with death. You do not further examine the thought that the two of you might have something in common.
And winning, of course, glorious triumph and victory. You'd be a fool not to love winning.
Yes, I've dabbled in the concept. How does this tie into shadow currency?
Because with shadow currency, I know how to lead. For example, Wraith coin is up! But with my keen knowledge of the system, I would advise you either find a middle ground coin to ensure you don't crash and burn when buying big, or just go for the cheapest option available. Might I suggest to you, Lust Coin? It's been lying dormant, boy. That just means it's well overdue for a comeback in a big way. I'm sure you will see. Or actually, no, you probably won't. It's not for you. Forget I said anything.
You briefly consider feeling insulted, but decide against it in the end. You simply slump further down in your seat. You really do not care about these obscure internet shenanigans all that much. You're positive you're just going to get more of a chasm full of it down the line anyways. You're done with this topic. Next. We don't need a bribe, I guess, unless this means something else.
I mean, like, it's probably not a money bribe.
Yeah.
It's like a different kind.
Yeah. It doesn't take a criminally overdeveloped think pan to come to the conclusion that Bitcoin seems to like money. Hell, he'd probably change his name to Money if he could. He may be sitting at the top of this slice of the underworld, but everybody bleeds. And whenever a wound threatens to leak loops, you suspect he smells it from a long distance, just like the rest of the ankle biters. I'm sure you're familiar with the pricelessness of the stolen goods I'm trying to track down. There must be a market of customers willing to pay a pretty ring for that kind of inventory. Collectors, megalomaniacal scientists, perhaps even cultists. I don't suppose you'd be in the know about the precise amount of dough it would take to get your hands dirty with ancient artifacts. He looks more and more engaged every time you slide an additional synonym for coinage across the metaphorical table.
Oh, I have no doubts at all regarding the value of our little glass bottle filled with limey life juice. It's funny how such a small item can have such a large impact.
In truth, it can only be considered small if you refuse to look at the big picture.
Chaos everywhere, confide in your experts for a trustworthy evaluation today.
And what would your evaluation be? In an expected turn of events, BitCon insists on making a show of things, a theme that many professions of your kind tend to run with. He pointedly clears his throat, like he's about to announce the winner of a brand new vehicle. You don't bother getting your hopes up about that one, though.
Such a rare, mystical relic of the past. It might be doubted at first, especially by a sensible individual such as myself. But if people got a whiff of Morpeth's involvement, you'd be the richest troll on the planet. 50,000 contenders, one champion to rule them all. Battle Royale, where we dropping, boys?
Yeah, baby!
I am, of course, speaking in hypotheticals only, as someone who has no previous interaction with the item in question. And also as someone who could sell a single shoelace for $1 grand on a bad day.
Excellent. You've established a potential motive. A motive besides, would swindle a preschooled grub out of a cracker for fun, that is. Interesting. Because I think there's a very real possibility you could have paid a much smaller fee for the collection of an item marked as significantly less important. Taking advantage of the thick cloud of mystery and obscurity surrounding something all but non-existent in the eyes of the public. He says it before you can.
Seems like a classic BitCon move, doesn't it?
It's sickening how he wears the accusation with pride.
Sorry to disappoint, but that's a little too ambitious. There's no way I'd be able to hide the value of such a hard seller.
How so?
Corporate certified stamp of approval, a genuine article of history. It was transported in a heavily fortified truck, right in the middle of a conspicuously bland tundra turf. No grunt worth his minerals would break in and out of there without realizing its importance. Try again.
Seems like you're incapable of flexing your finest accusatory muscles right now. You just can't ever win the draw for a clueless moron when you need it, can you? I wouldn't put it past a few lower-rung members of corporate to be swayed by a potential bribe. Low in contrast to people like Sestro, of course, but still high enough to know about something that's caused this much of a dreadful stir. Never in a million sweeps would you believe that corporate's slogan truly applies to every last individual listed in its records. There's obviously a weak link somewhere if information was leaked.
There is, without question, some schmuck up in the big top who's not doing their job properly. Not a terribly difficult conclusion to come to. But if I know who they were, I would have been able to take so much more so much earlier on. Hypothetically speaking, of course.
He's quick to tack that last part on, so as not to implicate himself too strongly. The end result is equivalent to trying to make a dumpster more palatable by throwing a single bottle of perfume inside. Do tell me if you happen to find out who the blabbermouth is.
Likewise.
Really, that's it? The scowl plastered across your face intensifies by several degrees. Again, there is silence. And again, there is BitCon, staring at you with unbridled eagerness. Alas, both your time and mental capacity have been exhausted. Another telltale grin, that same goddamn smile every single time, sends out a clear message. You've lost.
Nothing else? ... No comments, no quips? Japes, jests, jabs? Otherwise irrelevant quarrels? Good.
His hand rasps against the side of the box you both spent the better third of a route in, and the door automatically raises open. You sit there and continue to say nothing. A numbness spreads through your body. Bitcon seems confused for a brief moment, but shrugs it off easily enough. You imagine disregarding the emotions of others is business as usual for him. You wish you could claim that he'd fallen into your trap, that you'd plotted for him to lower his guard around you, which is never something one should do if one enjoys the continued state of being alive. As it stands, you're just a very good improviser. You see a turned back, and in a split-second decision, launch yourself out of the confessional like a bat out of hell. Ooh, sword time. Your fencing hand is quick on the draw. In one swift motion, Bitcon has a very sharp edge pressing against his neck. I don't care for your pathetic excuses anymore. I want an airtight, legitimate alibi, right now. Unless you want to become intimately acquainted with the smell of fresh cerulean blood mixed in with that foul cologne of yours. Unsurprisingly, this catches the attention of all the other patrons around you. Slightly more surprisingly, every last one of them draws their weapons from their respective strife spectabi and aims a concerning variety of lethal tools of the trade your way. Downright shocking is how Bitcon doesn't so much as tense his shoulders. Proserpina extracts a solitary thin blue droplet from his throat, and yet he stares at you, unfazed. He doesn't simply believe it, he knows he has the support of every last person in here. Your ears pick up on the ragged breathing of someone who sounds very loyal and very trigger-happy. See, Sestro, your hearing is completely untouched, don't worry about it. You try your best to hold on to your professional composure, but Bitcon's smiling like he just saw you throw a temper tantrum.
Well. Looks like you really are down on your luck. Remarkable.
You don't take kindly to him talking down to you, like you're even more of an amusing science experiment than your species already is. When you press your blade harder against his skin, you see your several guns cock.
Now, everyone calm down. Yes, that means you too, greedy. Dapis, take care of them, would you?
All he has to do is wave a hand dismissively, and the entire mob grows complacent. You are forced to concede this round and lighten up just a little. Only a bit. Again.
Let me just breathe for a second, then come with me. We'll get your orderly documents. It won't take too long. I know how much you value your time.
There's a new version of Java's available.
Here.
Okay. You have no idea what he's talking about. More code, probably. But as much as you try to justify it, you can't bring yourself to turn him down. Not when he's thoroughly embarrassed you like this. You sheathe your rapier as he motions for you to resume your role as his tail. Don't say rat tail. Not say rat tail. He's quick to guide you past the crowd and around the corner of the room. Oh, he's leading you into a supply closet now. Great. All the space of the confessional with the added smell of janitorial duties. The door clicks shut and his voice hushes significantly. You're starting to like this closet a little more.
You want an alibi? Fine, I'll give you an alibi.
Might want to get closer to the mic if you're gonna whisper.
It's not like I'm actually guilty. I have hobbies, passions, things to do outside of causing a ruckus downtown.
You suppose it's his turn for a dramatic pause. You patiently wait for him to continue.
You see, on the night of the incident, I was with the boys. I was cracking open a cold one.
Oh my god. You don't know why he's looking at you like you're supposed to know who the boys are. He cannot possibly be serious about resting his case on that sentence alone. Boys?
Ah, you must be wondering about our killer team name.
Not really.
Came up with it while I was waiting for them on a bout of steamed hands. I knew that we had to get an excellent name for the sake of forgetting our tales to outsiders, you see. But it was a damn conundrum all the time.
soon as I saw them approach, though, I stood up and said, "What's up, boys?" And the entire restaurant cheered. Everybody went absolutely insane. And there was the liberation of an oppressed group somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I got a medal, if I recall correctly. It's been a while.
You fall into stunned silence. It seems you have finally succeed in feeling insulted. You expect me to take you at your word just like that? You genuinely expect me to let you off the chain because you got some fucking slop with a few friends? This is bullshit!
Ah, yes. But it's good bullshit.
Your incredible tale doesn't even remotely give you an alibi. You could have still dipped your toes into the deep end of an organized burglary earlier. How could I possibly be expected to trust you?
Don't just take my word for it. Here's a message from our trusted sponsor.
His trusted sponsor is apparently a slip of paper advertising one Endari Vernier's Whimsy and Horoscopes.
No, you can't take me at my word. I'm well aware of what my reputation does for me on that front. That's why I'm passing you along to one of the boys. Endari can vouch for me. We're very close. And also, this is for good luck.
What he hands you next is a small photograph of himself. It's signed on the back. In it, he has the exact same expression he's giving you right now, in the flesh. It also perfectly matches his expression when he's on television, or any marketing you've ever seen him in, now that you think about it. And why exactly am I taking this?
If not for good luck, then consider it an invitation to find me again. If I'm wrong, I'm sure you could come back and finish the job easily. Results guaranteed!
Fine. There's nothing appealing about the concept of shaking this man's hand. Leveling the playing field between you two makes you sick to your stomach, but you have no choice other than to trust him for now. The fact that he's willing to put himself on the line proves that he's at least trying to earn your trust as well. I'll be seeing you very soon if you're wrong. Tell your people to keep an eye out.
Pleasure doing business with you, Cecily. I'm deeply sorry that this didn't go as you planned. But we have a saying in business when that happens.
It's just business?
No. Better luck next time, chump!
It's a decently lengthy trip out of the currency dome, which you use as a chance to think. You always ruminate when you have to walk. And right now, you're thinking, fuck today.
Loops. Brother, may I have some loops?
Loops.
Yeah,
You're starting to feel less hungover, but even more like an absolute buffoon. You completely failed to dupe an exasperating customer, and he gave you nothing useful to boot. Just like the last time, as you feared. You have nothing to show for any of this other than the faint wisp of a lead that ended in a closed-off alley, to the sound of a laughing audience pointing directly at your catastrophic failure. Going with your intuition alone was a mistake. Sometimes a gut feeling really is just a feeling. You shouldn't have taken it upon yourself to simply assume you were right. You got hasty, you got impatient, bordering on incompetent, and that's not you. You make a promise to yourself. You need to be better. You will be better. You are getting results, starting tomorrow. Even if it's just confirming or denying the involvement of a rat, once and for all. No more screw-ups. No more dead ends.
Sexy.
He is laughing. I like her holding the picture of him like she's holding some sort of like wet garbage. All right.
Yeah, that'll be
We're
it.
good.
Yeah, I don't think
we're
I can do
done.
voice up.
I
can feel the shreds.
I'm good too.
But
But
when I channeled the drifter.
it's It's okay. I think that was a good voice.
Yeah.
And that was fun. Big Con he's funny.
He's a
He comes back later too.
Okay.
The boys. The fucking boys.
Boys.
The
Bring it out.
boys.
Ooh.
Yeah, baby. Alright, let me see. Protocol for when I end a stream. Did I get anything sent to me? No. Alright, we're gonna find a mutual then. Who is alive right now? Let's see. Any smaller friendos? Hatters. Legacy Council. Let's raid Mythic Duo. I think that sounds fun. It looks like they just started recently-ish. Alright, I'm sending you guys off. Thanks to everyone for dropping by. Let me promo you real quick. Is there anything you want to plug other than, that you also stream?
I'm literally not going to be streaming until like next week because I'm on vacation.
Mm-hmm. Snake is on vacay, but we'll be back eventually, TM.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Drink water.
Water is pretty important, especially after reading for 2 hours. Alright.
Drink Pepsi Nitro. I'm not gonna continue.
Don't finish the sentence because it's not safe for work. Please don't. No, we're good. Ooh, my watch was like, what?
The watch wanted to finish it.
Could you imagine being betrayed by your own watch? Like, start spewing not safe for work, like, copy pasta?
It just starts going off the CBT Wikipedia.
Okay. Alright. I will not be here tomorrow. I will be back on Monday. My schedule will be probably back to normal next week. So, until then, I hope you guys all have a great weekend. And I will see you around. I'm gonna send you guys off to Mythic Duo. Alright. Gotta wait for it to finish doing this. And then I will be free from stress for the rest of the week, which is cool and based in Epic. Okay. Bye everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Wait till it switches over.
When I first did that, I was trying to do like a mafia voice, then I couldn't do that, and I just went into the drift.